Also introduced them to 103's hot chocolate and things. I had to take some guys up to that beauty. And then he came up shopping with me. Oh, yes. Nice. Great time.
You go to on there yesterday.
I went down on Tuesday, meeting Tuesday night and came back last night. So,
Must be going to this.
no, that's the gig, isn't it? Normally.
Yeah, I believe it's maybe.
Okay.
Hi, fine. How are you?
That's you.
Okay.
Just send it. Just very.
Okay, welcome everybody to our second meeting of the Teviot Valley Community Board. We have got, the first thing I'd like to say is very sad to see the passing of Linda Claridge, who was a councillor in recent times, and she sadly passed away a couple of days ago. Taylor, have you got 30 seconds? Tell us a little bit about Linda.
Yeah. Linley joined the council first and back in 2001, and had many terms on both the council and the Vincent Community Board. And probably one of the things that we hear most from people is just how warm and generous she was and what good care she took of people over her long career as a funeral director. So really sad to see that she hasn't had the amount of time that she might have liked to have had. But when I spoke to her, she did say that she was happy to get 70 really good years and not 94 average ones. So, yeah, thoughts are with John and James and Chris and the families.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, we'll move on to the meeting. The first item on the agenda is apologies. We have no apologies, I don't think. Okay, we have Becky. So Becky Slater's online. Welcome, Becky. She's out of town at this point, so welcome to Becky. In our public forum today, we have Faye Kennedy is going to give us a quick update on the rocks. Faye, would you like to come and sit and just give us a so the community board voted in a $5,000 startup fund for Faye's on the rocks, and she's volunteered to come give us a bit of an update on how things are going. So please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think most of you know me. I'm Faye Kennedy, and I'm the chairperson of a new incorporated society called ontherocks.nz. And we're in the process of setting up a retail space at 105 Scotland Street, next door to 103 The Cafe. Yes, and my point of being here today is to, on behalf of all of our members, I'd like to thank the Teviot Valley Community Board and the CODC for approving the community grant, which means we were able to proceed with our retail shop venture. We've spent the last 6 weeks on an unbelievable labouring journey through all the administration things that you need to do. And the worst one was 4 weeks, you won't believe it, 4 weeks attempting to get a BNZ bank account set up with the new legislation and things that it's plus incompetent staff, staff working from home, staff forgetting to send emails. And it was only, thank goodness, for our local Joanne Ray, who's quite high up in BNZ, coming to the rescue and circumventing when necessary the incompetency and poorly trained staff. So we got here in the end, but it was extremely frustrating. Anyway, for positive things, our membership list is still growing as more artists are hearing about our venture. In the last week, we've had 3 new members signed up who will display photography and printed cards featuring scenes of the Teviot Valley, flora and fauna, and another artist will feature stone bowls. Haven't seen them in the actual flesh, but hollowed out pieces of raw stone, and also wine barrel platters, which are quite a different mix from the other artists that we've got on track. We're still going to open on the 1st of December, which is a Monday, and we're just having a small gathering get together of members and invited guests on the Sunday night before that, just from 4 to 6 p.m. So I'd warmly welcome any members of the Teviot Valley Community Board and the Council if they'd like to pop in and have a sneak preview of what we've got. It really is quite an eclectic space, but please don't think just your average craft shop, because it's, you know, people that walk in just go, wow, you know, Bridget Patterson, who shares the building, you know, can't believe every time she comes in, more stuff has been delivered, and yeah, it's just all so different. Yeah, so if anyone wants to note that in their diary, Sunday the 30th of November from 4 to 6 p.m, just to say hi and have a sneak preview. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
So this is arty stuff, obviously.
Yes.
So, but are there any artesian like food or anything like in that way
For sale.
for sale? Or
We deliberately,
you exploring that at all, or explored it and gone no?
we've deliberately decided at this stage to steer clear of food. It brings complications that, you know, we have to be assured that it's prepared in a commercial kitchen that's been inspected, etc. We feel there are other outlets in Roxburgh that are doing that already. So
Yeah.
we may do things like walnuts done up in nice packages in the autumn, or,
You know, I was thinking of that.
you know,
The oils and, you know, the long lasting stuff, not the.
right,
Yeah,
right.
that's the artificial
We
food
have
people.
got wellness oils and balms and things, but yeah, they're not perishable. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Hmm. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you very much, Faye.
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Sorry, Faye, one thing, you are an incorporated society now?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Yeah,
Because
officially
we were,
incorporated.
our money was going to come when you got incorporated.
Yes, yes, and I forwarded all the documentation to Rebecca, and also that we have the lease.
And you got a bank account, which is bonus, right?
Yeah, we actually take money. And we've started paying out money too.
Right.
Yeah, we've got to look after our little, these legal funds until now we start selling some countries.
Right, thank you. Okay, next item is the minutes from the last meeting. They've been circulated. Any issue, we don't have a matters arising as such, but is everybody happy with the accuracy of those minutes?
Yeah.
No issues there, okay, but I have a proposal from a seconder to confirm the minutes, please.
I second that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, right. All those in favour? Right. Okay, thank you. So the next item that we have on here is declarations of interest. We're all bound to declare interests. So if an issue comes up, either during the month or at the meeting, people are aware of what we have and what might influence us. It's up to us to declare that interest as being a conflict, should it be so. So there's a list of interests there. Joe, you haven't put any in?
I've got no conflict of interest. And I haven't been taken, so that would be a message to you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so we move on now to the full item on the agenda, which is the Roxburgh Entertainment Centre project. And okay, so we have Tara and Gareth presenting for yours today. Gareth's the property manager. Yep. And Tara's, I presume, the most able assistant.
Project manager.
Project manager. Thank you, Tara, please.
Good morning, everyone. This report is to consider approval to investigate alternative location options for the Roxburgh Entertainment Centre project. So I'll take the report as read and just do a quick summary. The board had previously appointed 4 external community stakeholders to a project steering group back in July. That group also includes project sponsor, business owner, project manager, board representative and a council representative. Following that, the idea of looking at alternative locations was brought up by some members of the previous community board, and it was floated with council staff about whether the current location was the best option or if other options could be explored to help revitalise Roxburgh's town centre. The view was that this is such an important step for Roxburgh as a 100-year decision, it's important to at least explore that idea. So this was discussed by the project steering group in October, and they agreed to seek approval from the board and then council to investigate the potential sites. The steering group also saw this project as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to build a facility that will serve the community well into the future, and they saw investigating alternative options and important to assess whether the current site is still the most suitable location. So part of that investigation, there's a list in the report, will include analysis of potential benefits, geotechnical reports of any sites, asbestos and building demolition assessments, cost estimates for demolition and purchase price, property valuations, a community survey to measure support for the relocation, and the estimated timeline for how it will affect this project scope. So once the investigation has been done, the detailed report will then come back to the board and council in March 2026 with the findings for a decision to be made whether that goes into the long-term plan. So there will be a minor cost involved between maybe 20,000 to 40,000, maybe less than that. And that will be covered from the insurance payout for the new build. So that will reduce it by that amount. So the recommendation is for the board to recommend to council to give approval for the project, the Roxburgh Entertainment Centre project steering group to investigate alternative options for the location of the Roxburgh Entertainment Centre rebuild. And then once that has happened, to come back to the board and council in March 2026 for a decision. Questions?
Thank you very much, Tara. I'll throw that over to the members of the community board for discussion, comments.
Part of this investigation will look at the current site as a comparison against.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, I'm happy for sites to be explored, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the community and what they want and what's important to them. But it is an opportunity to, because the wall's gone completely, it's an opportunity to have a bit of a poke around.
Hayden?
Yeah, the same, just to explore all options.
Yeah.
Whatever site that may be. So it's good to go through the process anyway.
Okay. Thank you. Becky? Can you hear us, Becky?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, exploring all options, but being completely transparent about everything. So we can make, and the community can make an informed decision. So everybody knows all the facts all the bits and pieces, so the community can then really have their say on what is best for them.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I mean, clearly there's some, people have some very strong memories of the old site and of all the fun times that I had at the entertainment centre and other functions and events that went on at the old site. Those memories will endure forever with those people, because they're very, very strong memories, and independent of where the site is or it's on the same site, those memories will still be with those people. But the opportunity to look at other sites, I think is definitely worth doing, given that it's going to be a 100-year building. The last one, without, won't say much thought, but without probably the forethought that it would be a 100-year building, it was over a 100-year building. So we need to go into this planning for it to be a very long-term building. And I urge all those that have an interest, maybe here in the public forum or in the community online, or read afterwards, to read this paper that has been presented so well by Tara, so you can get the feeling for what is being recommended, and so you know the progress to date that the PSG has had. The property steering group, the project steering group, is there to have a look at what the community need. It's not there to design a new building. I think that might be some misconception by some people that this steering group is going to design a new building. That's not true. This steering group is there to determine what the needs could be of groups moving forward that could use a new building. And we're also asking them to consider a broader picture potentially of other sites that might encompass all of those needs of all of those groups. The largest group to date has been the movie theatre, and it's quite possible that the most and largest group may well be the movie theatre in the future. The movie theatre certainly is one that has had a lot of needs in the past, and I think that those needs will definitely be on the table for the steering group to consider going forwards.
Can I just make a quick comment on that, Mr. Chair? I note that it does say that investigation to consider potential alternative sites will include an estimated timeline for any project scope changes. And as Becky noted, I think it's really important that the community understand how much extra time this would add to the process if an alternative site was to be chosen or investigated further. And there are also some challenges coming at us at the moment from central government, who have indicated that the very structure of local government will have some changes coming to us potentially before Christmas. And that also, when you are looking at the actual build part of this, we will likely be operating under some form of rates cap or rates peg, and this is the sort of thing that would be captured under that. So there's probably just a few more additional things coming at us from central government that we'll need to factor in when we get to that long-term plan, which is the 2027 long-term plan. The very nature of what council does and rates for and how we achieve our purpose is going to be under the microscope as we move our Three Waters services into a new entity. So totally fine if the board wants to recommend that we look at some other options, but we won't be operating in the same landscape we are now, and we don't yet understand what those changes might look like.
Thank you for those.
What extra time frame do you think? Talk on 6 months?
On the bill.
2 years.
Yeah. And just considering it would be part of an LTP, that funding wouldn't come available until 2027. So you're looking at a couple of years, I would suggest, on top of what we're already looking at.
Crazy, eh? They built the Dunedin Town Hall in 2 years.
So remember, that's the construction period.
Yeah,
We're
that's
talking about
actually, yeah.
Site investigation. So to build a building like this between 12 months and 15 months, I'd estimate from the construction period. But it's site investigations and then going through all those processes that might, probably will increase it between 2 and 3 years extension. Longer.
Yeah, sitting here today, I get a pretty good feel on what the community think at the moment, and we're receptive to that. I still think it's a question worth asking if we are in the right spot for another 100 years, and then we can definitively say we are or we aren't. And all we're asking for is a couple of months to do that work, and then we can move forward either way, knowing for surety for the next 100 years we've done the due diligence and we're happy where we are, or alternatively we want to look at something else. But yeah, and then just feedback from the steering group, we are looking at getting in front of the town, the community in December, penciled in December the 11th for a town hall to hear from the community and to regardless of which way this decision goes and decision next week, but even just outline the whole process moving forward.
Yeah.
So that is in the works.
Community's got to be in there all the way.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that has been the issue is the public, not our community, not feeling that they've been involved, that, you know, from the outside, it looks like, oh no, a decision has been made, it's being moved, which is not the case. But unfortunately, because the steering group haven't been able to get out in front and have that public engagement, that is, I think, part of it. Everybody's always going to have their opinion, but people haven't felt they've been able to express their opinion. So I think it is extremely valuable and extremely important that that meeting goes ahead and that as many people as possible attend it, so that the public can get their say out there. So, yeah.
You may even have to hold 2 meetings because you've got people that won't be able to come through the day. And you'll have people that won't be able to rock up at night.
We'll play that as we see it.
So we'll look to have that meeting. It's been difficult to get a date for the meeting because the trigger point of the meeting to determine whether it's the right time for the meeting has depended on a hell of a lot of stuff. Until we had a steering group, we couldn't have a clearinghouse for ideas to come to the steering group. We had to publicise select the steering group and elect them and get them running with the terms of reference. And then they had to publicise what they're doing by asking for people's input and to give people adequate time to give input. So far that steering group's been open since the 31st of July, that steering group was appointed. So that's August, September, October, people have had to put their suggestions into the steering group. So hopefully those people that want their suggestions to be heard have put those suggestions in and the steering group are considering them.
But there'll be, to add to that, there will be more formal avenues for community feedback. Post these next 2 decisions. Via, do you want
to? Once we've appointed the architect, because there will be a procurement process for that, there will be some meetings through the architect to look at sort of what the needs are and any ideas that they will collate all that information before they start on any concept.
Are they attended architect or?
Yeah, they will be. We have gone through that process. Yeah.
So when the meeting on the 11th of December, at that point, if we do vote today to look at alternative options in terms of locations for comparison, I don't think by the 11th of December a decision will have been made as to what those alternative locations are and where do we expect to be by the 11th of December.
I'd suggest with these resolutions, maybe it has to go to council as well before staff will start properly exploring, but where those sites there's a report in here, this is the date, March 26th, that would be, I would suggest when the report would come back with suggested locations and weighing up the 2 or 3 or 4 options against the current site.
Right.
So you could use that as an indicative. And I think just to make note to the meeting on the 11th of December, the steering group are planning to give their rough timelines of what things look like as well. And I would suggest probably the 2 timelines. One timeline would be staying on site. This is roughly what it would be to achieve build. And the second timeline would be if an alternative location was shown, that would obviously extend the build timeline because of the LTP consideration and what that might look like too. So
There has been some suggested sites already, so at that public meeting, I imagine we'll have to put those in front of the public as well as part of the presentation.
And will we have some broad pros and cons of each site?
So if I can jump in here, I think it'll be pretty high level. So in the limit, we haven't started investigations yet. So we're basically going to say, if you look at an alternative site, that's sort of your indicative timeline. If you the current site, that's your timeline and associated cost if you look at an alternative site. It'll be really broad terms, it'll be estimates, right? We're not talking about true figures here, which
No,
we both
you won't have numbers, but will you be able to be in a position to say, well, here are the 4 sites, here are the pros and cons of the 4 sites?
No, we wouldn't be splitting it down into 4 sites or whatever, how many sites there are.
Yeah.
It'll be alternate sites for the existing one. So that's it. And I just think it's more the 11th, it's more for the community to have their say. And the steering group to focus. So,
But my point is that if their say would be to say about what are the inclusions in what are the core facilities that need to be provided, in terms of being able to compare sites, that would be in no position to talk about comparison.
no, they can express their desire to stay in the current location or express their desire to look at alternative sites. But basically next year's papers,
Yeah.
we're bringing a table form and we've got all the investigations done, then you guys can make an educated decision.
Thank you very much. Okay, is there any more chat from the community board members about that before we put it to the we've got a recommendation.
On the meeting on the 11th, will you give people maybe a questionnaire, should stay?
There is
Sort
a
of box.
course of the community, if the next 2 months go that way, there's far as looking at the community survey to take in some of that feedback,
Right, okay.
whether it's
Yes.
a paper form of the 11th, I don't know. Yeah, it might not be. Tara's got a little bit of work to do, getting a presentation sorted for the steering group for that meeting, so the consultation stuff might come after, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just wondering if it's worth having them, getting the people that come to the meeting to get your opinion.
The 11th, the broad view of the 11th town hall is it's information sharing exercise, so it's partly for the steering group to hear from people and partly from the town to hear from the steering group and council on the process. And then, like anything, people will go away and think, and then the feedback channels will be open after that.
I just thought you've got a captive audience there already, may as well tap it.
I don't think you'll have enough information for them to make an informed decision. I think
Okay.
that's it. So this is just about being inclusive. Yeah. And transparent, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we've got a paper from Talon and we've got some recommendation there. Option 1 is that Teviot board received a report, it was recommend to give approval to investigate alternative options for the location. And to bring the findings back in March. So that's option 1. And there's an option 2 as well. And option 2 is that we decline the approval for investigating a second site. With the downside of the increase in time. So the downside option is that it takes it off. So, I recommend, I propose option one. I'd like to see a second for option one.
I'll second option one for you.
Thank you, Jill. So, Becky, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, right, so, we've proposed and seconded option one. All those in favour? All those against? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
So Becky voted against, would you like to?
Does she vote against? Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, no, sorry, I voted against.
And would you like that recorded in the minutes, Becky?
Pardon?
Would you like that recorded in the minutes?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so the option, go forward one. All right. That completes that paper. Thank you very much, Ross.
Thank you.
That's the report. I would urge any members of the community that are here or online. Thank you, Joe. I recommend any members of the community who are online or are here to read the reports that are in the agenda, which outlines quite a lot about the process to date and the future process for the project steering group. Okay, and it's got some nice pictures of the presentation that was given to us a few months ago. All right, so the next item on the agenda, just whizzing down to it, is my report. So,
My report for the Teviot Valley Community Board this week, a glorious week of weather in the valley. This is my third time here this week. It's looking quite promising for fruit growers in our area. And I also see there is a substantial amount of roadworks going on. It's obviously good sealing season. We've now sworn in all of our community boards and everybody feels supercharged to get into the next triennium. The rural and provincial councils met in Wellington. We received a presentation from Brad Olsen of Infometrics. He noted we are still trying to find the economic normal in this country. And he also noted that electricity pricing is increasing at the fastest rate since the 1980s, and nothing we're doing in local government is becoming cheaper to provide. He noted that making sure we are getting a good deal will be imperative this term, more so than ever, and I'm sure this board will agree with that. I see there is also an article in the ADT this morning about Otago's economic position in relation to the rest of the country. Central Otago is certainly contributing immensely to that prosperity for the entire region at the moment, which is a positive place for us to be. There was an excellent presentation from the Mayor and Chief Executive of North Sydney Council on rates capping, which they call rates pegging in New South Wales. They noted that people are a lot more aware of rising costs than they have been in the past. The Mayor also spoke about the fact rates capping doesn't account for the differences between small rural councils and metropolitan councils, even though their costs and challenges vary significantly, and that given councils are the closest to communities, they are the most aware of what their people hold important. They noted that the rates peg they operate under has trapped them in a permanent state of financial catch-up. Hence their application for an exemption to raise their rates by more than 50% over 2 years to catch up on a large amount of deferred maintenance that is now imperative. They finished with be careful what you wish for, which the DIA indicated to us yesterday that has been relayed back to the Minister making the decisions. Yesterday at the Zone 6 meeting, we had an update from David Gow from Health New Zealand on the clinical services planning. This is progressing well. They have some public meetings coming up next week, including an online session on Wednesday, the 26th of November at 5:30 p.m. David also noted that he thought it was quite an anomaly in Central Lakes that you can buy a Louis Vuitton handbag, but you cannot get a publicly funded MRI scan in our region. We also received a presentation from Mike Casey with his Electrify Aotearoa hat on, talking about, among other things, that solar played a huge part in the ability of people to get through the sustained power cuts down south last month, and just how popular neighbours were who were able to offer hot showers as a result. Electrification is something this council will be looking at, including the possibility of solar panels in various places. So watch this space. That's my report.
Thank you very much, Tara.
Thank you.
I did omit to say, previously at the beginning of the meeting that, Peter Kelly, the CEO, is not here, due to a family issue, and, he's been substituted, is that the right word? Well,
I guess it
David
is.
Scoobs.
Thanks, Mark. Oh, for this week. Temporary.
Yeah, acting CEO, I guess. Okay, thank you very much. I'll take a few report. Okay, so I move that report be accepted. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you very much. Hey, Peter Spell. Okay, move on now to the chair's report. That's me. So just tell you first of all a few things I've been involved in recent times. It's been a very successful garden tour run by Father Withington and assisted by Teviot Prospects around the valley. That was a couple of weeks ago. Raised a bit of money for charity. Likewise, there's also been another big community event being the local garage sale, which had correct me if I'm wrong, between 50 and 70 signed up garage sailors. Throughout the valley on Saturday morning, last Saturday, maybe Saturday before, run by Cheryl Marsden, and again that raised great funds for the local community. So well done, Cheryl, and thank you very much. That's an annual thing, and it's getting very big. I attended a Medical Services Trust AGM, and the Medical Services Trust is the owner of the buildings which houses the Med Centre here and the rest home. So that was an interesting meeting. And they're looking forward to their future, which may include some new heating for the buildings. Went to a workshop, a funding workshop a couple of weeks ago here, which was presented by people from OCT and CLT and Lotto. That's an annual meeting that they have here to advise of their services and the way to use it. I'd encourage any prospective person looking for some funds to come to that. I would note with interest that the Fagan's building in Miller's Flat has been sold, and to take over date of that is a couple of weeks away. It's been purchased by the mine entity from the current owner of the building, Mike Tan. So that's good news for the Miller's Flat community. See something happening there. Couple of things that aren't happening yet, but I'd like to just note that in the future, I'd like our group here to start thinking and discussing community housing. And I know that the council have got some initiatives going to be going on there, but please put your thinking caps on, both as a committee board member or a community member. Please think about community housing and what could be done in this valley for community housing, because it's up to us to bring that to the table. It's up to us to get that going. So if there is any thoughts about that, please channel them this way. And secondly, and likewise, I'd like to see us doing a new community welcome program, and I'll be looking towards having some sort of welcoming program for new people coming to the valley. We're getting new people coming all the time, and they sort of arrive and then they just sort of, try and integrate. But it'd be great to really welcome them properly and have a community welcome every year.
Doesn't Miller's Flat do that every year?
Miller's Flat does that every year, yeah, but it's sort of, they invite everybody, but it's sort of, because it's in Miller's Flat, then people that live up at the Roxburgh Dam are going to be a little bit reticent to go talk to some people they've never seen down at Miller's Flat. So I'd like something a little bit more implies more inclusive feelings, and perhaps it's not formal down there, but more relaxed to say, hey, every 3 months or 6 months, we have a newbies sort of a session Everyone come along, have a wine, have a chat, have an orange juice, have a glass of water, and, yeah, make people, yeah, something like that. I don't know, I don't know quite how it works. And, a final thing to think about, which is something that, previous chair, Norman Daly, who's here, isn't here anymore. Talked about, and I talked to him about it, is a Teviot Valley Endowment and Investment Foundation. And so in the past, as a board, we had the authority to use, and we still do, to use the remaining Teviot Valley Community Board reserves. Those reserves got there either through endowment of people very generously gifting some funds to it or some donations, or secondly, from some rates that went into that. And so we've got some funds there, but that money is not going to grow anymore because those wards those reserves are not going to, we're not going to rate for them in the future. And so those reserves won't grow. So I propose, I'm thinking, it's my thinking, that we would have at the Teviot Valley Endowment Investment Foundation, which was a central point of investment for people from the Teviot Valley who want to give some funds that could be used in the Teviot Valley. And that would end up being a completely separate community trust, independent of the community board, independent of council. It would have its own elected trustees, and they would look after those funds and they would disperse them as per whoever the donor was. We might say, I want it to be used in Scotland Street, I want it to be used in Miller's Flat, I want it to be used at the Penn, or I want it to be used for education, or only to groups, or only to individuals, or whatever. Any donations generally have some requirements around them. So anyway, that's just some thoughts that I have for that in the future, and we'll talk more about it down on the Western Plantation, hopefully over the next 3 years. That's all I've got on my report. Thank you, everybody. We'll have to ask for that to be accepted.
Yep, I second it.
Thank you. Okay, Hayden. You're right, Hayden. Thank you, Hayden. So Hayden, you're right.
Yeah, no, I've got anything really to report at this stage for this one.
Great. Thank you, Hayden. Yeah, Jill.
I haven't attended any meetings as such, but you know, life revolves around at the moment. Just talking to lots and or listening to lots and lots of people about the rebuild and the possibilities and what their feelings are with it, and that's it. For me, I haven't attended one of them.
Thank you, Jill.
I attended RESIP AGM 2 weeks ago. Before they lost their entertainment centre, it was already a challenging year with not being able to operate due to the renovations, and then compounded by the fire on Waitangi Day. So yeah, very challenging year for them, and we acknowledge that. And they have had a lot of positive support for their outdoor movies, outdoor cinema nights. They've had 3 so far. They're looking at running a 4th shortly, I believe. And they are looking at moving to become a charitable trust to protect their assets versus an incorporated society. And they are watching with keen interest on the rebuild, and they will be dealing directly with David going forward on their needs. Teviot Irrigation Company is a mixed-use rural water scheme on the east side of the Clutha River. Largely an irrigation company, but it does supply non-potable water to a large number of households from Rockford East down to just above your place, Mark. Unfortunately, for the first time since the 1930s, the scheme is under a boil water notice to comply with Tamata otherwise new drinking water standards. I've made I've let Julie Muir at council know just for her information, but households that use the water for potable means will be required to have end treatment endpoint treatment systems in place, to comply with the regulations going forward, and that is a requirement that is on the household, not the company. Yeah, and just echoing that, I'd note with interest, the Lake Onslow battery projects, lodged their application to be considered for fast track approval. And just following on from what Mark said, given, in the last 5 years, or couple of years, 5 years, I suppose, we've had a lot of interest in this region and big projects, whether it's mining or a project like this. I think it is important we start to think about, if projects like this grow, whether it be the mine or the Lake Onslow project gets off the ground, it's important that we as a community look at how we get tangible benefits that last a lot longer than the project itself. I urge everyone to put their hats on how we can advocate to make sure that in 10, 20, 30, 40 years after these projects have been built, that there is something of worth for this community left to offset the social impacts of this construction.
Thank you very much, Chris. Do we have to move and accept the announcement? I know Becky's still come.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, right, Becky, can you please give us your report?
Yeah, like Curtis, I also attended the RASIC AGM and echo his sentiments on that. And same thing, I've been sort of out and about the community talking to people about the rebuild and that kind of stuff, so getting their feedback too. And also, looking forward to seeing what else comes out of the woodwork. So yeah.
Thank you, Becky. I'd just like to add one thing to my report, and that is that the Miller's Flat Sport and Rec Hub project is progressing well. And we're looking to completion at the end of March. We've had the place properly surveyed. The neighbours are happy with that. And we've got all the funding in place, which is from ACT and CLT and lotteries, and some local funds. And that comes up to nearly 750,000, including GST altogether. So that project's progressing according to plan. Okay, so that's the 4 reports. How do we approve those?
Just anyone can read it.
So I move that those 4 reports be accepted. Can I have a second, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, that's the end of the members' reports. So we now come to the governance report, which includes some very interesting topics that are there: economic strategy update, and some board updates. For it was flat, Lake Onslow, Teviot community plan, and so.
Should we have that map up first? Ready to do this.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, sure. So the very first one of those.
The last one was very careful.
So we've got Nick Lennon here, who's going to present an economic development strategy update. Thank you, Nick.
Sure. Thank you. It's lovely to be here. Hayden, I don't think we've met in person before. It's great to meet you. And likewise, Becky's still online.
Yeah, she is online.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. Hey, the purpose of me being here today is really to just want to raise awareness around the draft economic development strategy that's been put together, that's currently out for community consultation. So that community consultation runs through till the end of next week. And obviously, when we were in the original consultation stage last year, we ran a series of workshops and online surveys to get that feedback to come into it. So the strategy is something that council will approve. Economic development is a district function, so they approve my work plan and adopt the strategy. but really keen to make sure that as community board members and as, people who are connected with their community, that, as many people know about it and can feed into the work as possible. So, yes, thank you. Just sort of going backwards before we go forwards a little bit is just trying to sort of frame up what is economic development. So there's a definition there, but essentially how I think about it is asking ourselves the question, how do we enable our business community to thrive in a way that is in line with our community values and improves community well-being? And so that's really what the strategy and the process of economic development activity is setting out to. While council, in terms of economic development function, it's just me, council as a whole has a role in economic development, and you see that through whether it's the provision of infrastructure, the regulatory settings, so it's quite wide ranging. So in terms of what I do, the sort of four main areas really that I sort of operate in, and one that's around sort of connecting businesses into council as they look to try and navigate maybe a council process. It's obviously taking council's messaging back out to the business community as well. Helping connect businesses with central government for grant funding and projects in the district with central government funding. And the last area is probably where I spend most of my time, and that's where you've got a group of individual businesses or individuals in the community or community groups that essentially have a problem or an opportunity that they can't realise by themselves, but together, if they work collaboratively, they can overcome it or realise the opportunity. And so generally that's where I help get involved to pull people together and give a project a bit of forward momentum and maybe structure to it too. So just briefly, there's a couple of examples up there. On the left, you've got Cam from Eden Orchards. We, in conjunction with our horticulture sector, looked at the opportunity to commercialise some of the waste fruit. So it's estimated that there's about 6,000 tonnes of fruit in Central Otago that's produced that doesn't actually go on to be consumed. So the opportunity was, well, how do we encourage greater processing of that fruit for sale, basically. So that's CAM with a pilot that was run to produce individually quick frozen cherries to go in bags that go in smoothies and shelves. The next one there is data. So we obviously have data that feeds into council to help make decision processes, but we make that data readily available for businesses and community groups to help them with their decision making as well. So that's Infometrics. I think I spoke earlier about Brad Olsen's presentation. So Brad is the chief executive of Infometrics. So they update with economic data, and that goes right down to the ward level as well. So you can drill into Teviot Valley to understand what the changes are there. MED's Task Force for Jobs, it's a program that we've secured funding from central government to help youth in the area into local employment. We all know that the district has one of the lowest unemployment rates around the country. So we've got employers that are screaming out for staff, but we've also got youth who just need a bit of a helping hand to get into work. So that's what Craig does in conjunction with Mary. And then just another couple of highlights and projects. There's a fibre there as well. We're in a project around how do we increase digital connectivity in the district. We start central support startups, and then Film Otago South, and there's a collaboration across the wider region to help and promote and enable film activity. Thanks, Sarah. So into the strategy. So this is the cover of the strategy. As I said before, it's a draft. we had gone through about a dozen workshops. We ran 2 in the Teviot Valley, and we had an online survey that received over 200 responses from across the district, all feeding in ideas around what that could look like going forward. So we brought that together, we've written the strategy, and now we're going back out to community. So basically, have we got this right? It's a 40-page document. I've got a couple of physical copies with me. So yeah, sort of lost it where I was, but so anyway, so that's the process that we're in. I'll just take you through, I'm not going to take you through the whole 40 pages, but I just want to take you through a bit of a highlight reel and just explain just the structure of the document if you want to come back and navigate it a bit. So we have got a target, and I think this target really is about trying to help articulate with our community what we're aiming for here within the economic development scope and how it impacts them. And that draft target is to increase the average Central Otago wage to the national average by 2035. So currently, the average wage in Central Otago is 85% of the national average, so 15% below. If we went back 10 years, we would be 80%, so 20% below the national average. So through improving our productivity, we're aiming to increase wages and profitability of businesses. We know that, affordability is a key issue for our community, as housing prices, food prices, we've talked just about energy prices as well, going up. And so this is how, I guess, economic development can lean in to that challenge through improving affordability, through better wages. So, and we do have a vision statement there, but I'm sure we've all read lots of vision statements. I think the main one there is the target in terms of that articulation. So I do try and keep things simple where I can. So we've boiled down the whole strategy into one page. So that starts with the vision right through to the target, and then you've got the 4 pillars there as well. And those pillars do range into that sort of social infrastructure as well. It's something that came through in our workshops, that community were like, right, we can see this and this going well. But what is happening with healthcare? Is there the right planning for schools? We're struggling to get our kids into daycares and things like that. So really try and take a bit of a lens on how we can support that as well. If we go to the next page, if you go back, so there you see our projects, you've got sort of a 1.1, 1.2. For each of those projects, we'll now go to the next page. You've got a whole page for that project. So that's describing the project. It's talking about council's role. Often people look maybe a little bit too optimistically to council to solve all the problems, and some of the things we actually just don't control. So we have to try and influence. So within the strategy, we're trying to say, well, define what the council's role is and how we could possibly create change. It's got the objectives, the outcomes, and then those activities there with the bullet points are specific initiatives that I could undertake, we could undertake as an organisation, often in collaboration to achieve those outcomes. Cool. And so, yes, community feedback's going through to the end of next week. There is an online and paper questionnaire, and I will circulate a digital copy to the community board, so you've got it handy as well. But encourage you to take the time, reach out if you've got any questions, but also you'll know people in this community who have an interest in this, who will have ideas, and it'd be great to see those come through. Feedback for me can be, it can be new ideas, great. It can be obviously, oh, we don't know about that one, but it also can be around prioritisation as well. there is more in the strategy than we probably have capability or capacity to do. So seeing what the big game changes in the strategy are for you does help with that prioritisation. Often I do annual work plans that go to council that say these are going to be key projects we're focused on for the next 12 months. Often that is the result of what's in the strategy, but also looking across whether it's industry groups, businesses, government funding to see where are the opportunities to collaborate as well. So I've already had some businesses come to me or business groups come together and say, hey, we want to be involved in this as well. How do we get involved? And this is part of that process. We've had a good level of engagement from Mana Whenua as well. So that's been extremely positive. So happy to take any questions, but really for me, yeah, just want to raise awareness, want to make sure that, people are aware of it and get into it as well.
I've got a question. So with your 85% of the national average wage and central target, does that take into account so a lot of seasonal workers, a lot of semi-retired people? How do you work with that?
Yeah, so it is wages. So that's typically you've got two metrics. You've got household income, which takes in the entire earnings of a household, and that could be investment income or superannuation as well. But this is just talking about the wage. So this is the wages you get paid if you are an employee. It does capture some of the seasonal workers. It won't capture them all, because sometimes it's such the employment period is such short term that they don't get picked up in some of the data.
Any other questions?
It's not really a question, but when I first came on community board, I suggested that we set up a really good freeze-dry system here. It was instantly dismissed, told to get a private partner. There was no interest. Just 2 years to get a food truck up and running. So people have got really, really good ideas to create an income for themselves and something for the valley. But by the time we get through all the red tape, it's gone. And the biggest thing that council can do to help this community is to cut most of the red tape and just make things easy. It should not take 2 years to get a food truck up and running. What was it, 3 years for a helipad? That was somebody's business, and that's how long it took to get a helipad over at the aerodrome at Roxburgh East. So people have got really good ideas and they've got good innovation, but they can't get off the ground. And you just run into the football, and that's what people find exceedingly frustrating.
Yeah.
And for this little valley, things have been suggested, and they just get it just gets put into the too hard basket for them to carry on doing it. And so I'm still keen to have a freeze dryer here, but there's no will. And especially after what happened with Cyclone Gabriel, we could freeze dry food. If we have a big event like we did with Cyclone Gabriel, we could feed a place like that. And it doesn't take any electricity, the food's there, all you need is water. We could have a good business both for people to prep for themselves and for businesses to be able to sell on the counter their own produce. So it's just so hard to get anything up and running and off the ground here.
Yeah, so Jill, I'm a good fan of obviously increased food processing and things like that. I guess in this I'm always mindful of council's role, and like I said, we can't do everything, but we can help. And with the example where we help a group of businesses go through the trialling of IQF and things like that. That would be an example where we help them with support and we help them secure government funding to run the pilots, things like that. But as it comes into that commercial end, we sort of step back because obviously council doesn't. I think council wants to be a food processor as such. So it's supporting and trying to enable them. So always welcome to be connected with individuals who have got ideas. There is a constraint in terms of how much time I have in my day. But there was, regularly I'll get inquiries from businesses, helping to, connect them into council and find the right people to talk to if they're starting a venture. We obviously run the Startup Central program as well, which helps people with the idea get a business plan together, get around other startups as well, because it can be a bit of a lonely road when you first start out. There's people looking around as well with, similar ideas to what you've mentioned.
Yeah.
So, please do connect them in, and so we can do what we can. I can't always change the rules. In fact, most of the time I can't change the rules. In fact, probably all the time I can't change the rules. But I guess what we're trying to do is make sure that we are as welcoming and supportive of what we can do.
So what's the last innovative thing that's happened in the Teviot?
Swimming pool.
No,
That's
in
recreation domain.
No, but that's council ground. What's the last business innovation?
That was privately initiated.
It's privately initiated, but it's still on council ground and it's from grant money. When was the last time we had real backing for a private initiative to go ahead and Teviot?
Gold mine.
Yeah.
That's corporation. I'm talking.
That's private money.
It's private money,
Well, yeah.
$2 million in consents. But, what's been here?
So I don't think the question, what's the most recent initiative?
For ordinary people that live in the valley, what's the last good initiative we had to have a good business?
Well, the gold mine is one, it's brought 30 people.
Yeah, that's not ordinary people. Ordinary, Hawkwood is a multi-millionaire thing. I'm talking about ordinary people like Jess starting up her food truck, or somebody wanting to start up a freeze dryer. That sort of business. When's the last time that's happened?
On the rocks is one thing that's going on.
That's collective. That's not for, that's I'm talking business initiative. Where you don't have to be a millionaire.
Well,
For somebody to be able to just go, that's a good idea, I'm going to set that up.
but the retail store that does collectibles, that was about 2 years ago. I don't know, you should know as well as I do, I'm just casting around.
CAJ juice that's starting up that new drying thing and fruit up,
They've just
getting in their consent and stuff, mate.
Good.
Is that right? That's a food thing. Is that what you want?
invested in the process, new process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the collective is a great example when you're looking at that sort of spectrum of how you support and enable businesses. You've obviously got the cycle trail extension going through as well. I know that is quite class that money, but there's the process and there's the outcomes as well.
Yeah.
And that will generate employment and economic activity.
The fibre optic upgrade allows people to work from home. It's not stuff you necessarily see, but it's there. And
Was Jerry's gender still running?
Oh, yes.
That was the new one, okay. No, Joe, with your freeze dry, I encourage you to promote it, find someone.
I'm trying to work in with the AJ.
You can't go out of labour, it's not the sort of business they get involved with. Look, thanks for the presentation, I've got one question. And that is that, we employ we have about 2,000 people in the valley, 1,800, 2,000. You know the number better than 9 probably.
I was at 1,800 and something. I can't get the last three. The last Onslow project people suggested that it would bring 4,000 workers and 7,000 people. And we're going to hear about where the status of that project is. So I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is, how would you overlay that if that got the green light at some point in the next year? How would you overlay that into here? And what would be the trigger for you to do so? That's a big question. I don't have the answer to that, Mark. When we yeah, there was previously quite a bit of engagement with, government when they were looking at their Onslow project to start quite early on a social impact assessment to look at, what is going to be the impact of a project like that. And obviously you've got options to try and design out some of the impacts, or you've got, options around, I guess, compensation and things like that. But that would be massive. I think I feel like with Central Otago and my time here anyway, there's always been these big projects that float around. I think we want to engage, seriously about it, but obviously there's always that realisation too that not all of these big ideas do come through or do land. But I haven't been involved in this latest Onslow scheme and talk more about what their process may or may not be.
Yeah, sure.
There will be housed here though, isn't there?
Oh, no, I would not.
Via.
Yeah. Yep, okay, thank you very much, Nick. That's- Thank you.
So we're going to hear about that shortly.
Yeah. We urge everybody to have, that's online, your paper was online.
Yes, absolutely.
So I urge everybody to have a good look at it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. So the next item, on our agenda is Anne going to come through?
She's just like that.
Okay. Good. All right, welcome.
Hey.
So the next item on the agenda is the resource consent application for quarry at Another Flat. So Anne Rogers is the chief planner. Principal planner. Thank you, Anne. Anne's going to give us an update just on that process, not on, on the consent application for the quarry and followed by one on the onsite.
Sorry, do you want to like know the process or the outcome?
Well, the outcome will be fine, yeah.
Actually, yeah. So the proposal was to crush some of the gravel byproduct from the gold mining activity, 100,000 cubic metres annually. It's the area is about 15 hectares of the 68 that the mine occupies. Hours of operations is 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. 30 staff, no additional staff, so it's the existing staff that's going to be operating it. 40 truck movements per day. So no public holidays, there's review conditions on the consent because it's been issued. And can only be used in conjunction with the gold mining consent. So that can't be done on its own. So it was part of that process. And it's what they've got consent for.
40 truck movements, so that's 20.
So
Sorry, so, we're in a formal process. We can't, through the chair, you can ask me a question if you wish. What's your question? Did you?
So 40 truck movements, there's 20 truck loads.
Yes. That would be true. Yeah, in either direction.
yeah,
Yeah. Either heading north, heading south, over the bridge, not over the bridge. Coming out of the gate.
Yep.
Is that what it is?
there's an awareness of the weight limits on the bridge as well, and the consent that was raised, and so they are aware of what the weight limits are. But they believe that most of the trucks will be able to comply with that weight limit. But if not, they'll come down here and use the alternative through Roxburgh.
There's a couple of little bridges on that back road. Do they need to be?
No,
They're okay?
they're approved.
What little bridges?
Oh, it's right. There's just a couple of, when they come up this way, instead of going over the main bridge at Norris Flat, on the back road, there's a couple of small bridges, and they are small, really little.
Are they culverts rather than?
Culverty things, but you've driven over them enough, you'll know what you're doing. They're
Yes, approved, yeah.
Yeah, I think the main issue is just the weight limit on it. Yeah. The noise, there was noise reports submitted and traffic expert reports submitted as part of the application. The noise experts
concluded that with the existing funding and everything else that's in place, that the noise limits will be less than minor in terms of beyond the site. So that's why we start with hundred delegated. So, yeah, so they've got consent for that for the duration.
Thank you. And
Duration of the mining permit.
Yes, they're tied together. Yeah, so the mining consent and this one, that they are tied together.
So the mining consent, what about exploration permits? Is there not an exploration permit that it's granted at the end of October for comes up past Roxburgh now?
No, because the gold mine consent is for that 8 hectares. So the gold mine consent is for that. So this activity is confined to that. Yeah, so it can't be outside of that. So,
And does it look,
and it's tied to that activity, not any exploration that might occur somewhere else.
Right.
Even if there's a permit, you still need to, there's still earthworks kind of requirements. Even you can do a certain amount of exploration on a site, with a permit. But it's limited by the amount of earthworks you can do. So.
and with the gravel crushing plant itself, is that stationary in one place or does that move with the mine? With the mining?
I would imagine it's stationary, not specific in the consent, but I would imagine that they're a pretty big piece of kit.
That could be moved within a few days to
Yeah.
a different part of the mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, no, I was just wondering.
I actually didn't read whether or not it was a mobile.
Yeah, I don't know. whether
Even
it's
if they're
moved.
stationary, they're still moved.
Yeah, but I was wondering if the actual thing is going to move with the mine and or stay in one particular place.
okay,
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you. That's great. I know the 40 movements today. I know we had a discussion before, and there was a suggestion that in the past, Hayden, when your business was running some gravel, you'd move more than 40 a day.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's,
Well, the traffic concluded that the road is capable of dealing with up to 1,000 vehicles a day based on its standard, and is currently about 50.
The issue isn't the total, the issue with the road isn't the total number of movements, it's two trucks together in the wrong spot. If you're using the alternative route to Roxburgh, fully loaded, which they would be, that will be the issue.
Yeah.
Two trucks meeting. Yeah.
And one of the other issues is
You
there.
should be able to do that on your road, so.
Is them going past the spot.
with care, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
The call was specifically mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, and coming through the villages with the dust and the noise and.
Yeah.
I love sitting at school watching the trucks out there.
No, but you only ever wanted to drive tractors.
I love where I am.
Yeah, so
It's more concerned around the bridge.
Pardon?
More concern around the bridge was quite an issue.
Yeah.
Wanted to comply with that.
Yeah, no, they believe they can, and the transport, they talked about the school specifically as well. And that they're gonna make sure that their drivers are aware that it's 30 k's past this.
Yeah.
Again, too, like if you're carting gravel, how dusty is carting gravel?
It's not dusty.
It's not dusty. It's not.
Once you're on a sealed road, it'd be fine, it'd be dusty of anything on.
Yeah, nice thinking about going past all and stuff.
Thank you. And is there they'll have some sort of process with ORC, do they as well, or is that, are you aware of that?
No, no, this is the byproduct of the gold mining consent, so they've already got gold mining.
Okay.
Right, they've already got all the consents they need for that. What it will do, just so that we're aware, is that it will alter the final landform, because obviously you're taking the material out that would have formed part of the rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So, but that has been, they're going to be amending that, and so just be a slightly different landform, landing down towards the river.
Right, it's not going to be a case. Thanks.
It's not going to be crazy.
Thanks. So, I mean, that's good. I think that's good news. I mean, any of these decisions are difficult ones to make. And thank you for making a decision on it. And I think that overall it will be a good thing for the community. There'll be some downsides, but I think on balance, there'll be great upsides for the community. I'll give you one example is that if they'd applied earlier and the consent that therefore had been issued earlier, we would have saved $70,000 to $80,000 on the Miller's Track Domain hub upgrade. So they give it to us for free.
Well, the mine has.
So, you know, that's one example of some community benefit that in the future we may make it.
The mine has said if the council comes up with a bridge, they will do all the earthworks,
They will do what?
all the earthwork for it.
Oh, okay.
And it's to get somehow from one side of the river to the other into Ettrick.
It's very generous.
Maybe a cycle bridge.
Okay.
It's cycle bridge.
A cycle bridge, just a walk bridge. And the mine said that they will do all the earthworks for that.
Very well.
And now it's not going to happen, so they'll be saying.
So you never know.
I'm
You
working
can
on
combine them with the next topic. You can combine their generosity with the potential generosity from the next topic. And I'll never have something. So we move on to that. Any other questions for Anne of that? Otherwise, we move on. Thank you, Anne.
I've just got a question.
Sorry, Vicky.
Yeah, who monitors is it monitored, the truck movements and the compliance? Like
Yeah,
that
so
the council does that?
yeah, so there's a condition, that they have to keep a register of how many trucks, and that needs to be available upon request from a compliance monitoring team.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So if we get complaints, for example, we will ask to look at their log and see how many vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah, but that
Yes.
does rely on honesty, doesn't it? Them saying, oh yeah, it was only 2, when the public go, actually there was 10.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's a different discussion.
But presumably,
Thanks, Anne.
if they fail that first inspection, like that first inspection doesn't sort of quite ring true to what their records are, I'm sure they'll be asked 3 days later for another report.
Can I just ask one question? With all the number of paper roads and bits and pieces that we've got around at North Flat, is there any way that maybe a paper road can be opened up so that the trucks go through the back of the township rather than through the main? It's just a question, it's just an exploratory.
I'm not sure which paper roads there are that would assist in that.
How can we find out?
They're on the GIS.
Actually,
You can
always say
actually see them on the GIS.
I was just going to say, how do you find out?
I would look on the GIS. Which
It's
is
just wondering, yeah, if there's anything maybe that.
There's a big cost involved, and also if you open up a paper road, it does put,
Is it temporary?
well, there's still be a certain standard required, because the trucks would have to create a surface that a truck of that size and that would carrying that weight is not just a dirt track.
Oh, no,
It would
yeah,
have to be
yeah.
metalled and.
So they got the metal, they got the trucks. I was just wondering,
They didn't provide the one to, they didn't provide it as an option.
Yeah,
And I know, it's just, I don't know.
as an explorer, that is,
I think so.
who's exploring to see if there's a way just to take it out.
But that, yeah, I
Round the
guess
back of the pool.
the application would be that to do that kind of stuff, it would potentially impact on the residents of Miller's Flat worse because they'd get a new road that was.
Right.
Well, it would come out between at the end of the store and where the old church is, coming out there and onto the main road and the bridge. Just to dodge going past the.
Jill, it's not up to the council to promote new roads.
No, but
What we know is that the Teviot Road is capable in its current.
Yeah.
Of 1,000 vehicles a day, it doesn't have that, and so it's more than capable of taking the truck movements that would be generated. They are aware of the speed limits, but yeah, at the school. And if you're dealing with 20 trucks going past over an 8-hour period, 5 days a week, no weekends, no public holidays.
But that's a maximum, isn't it? Maximum. Okay, thank you very much for that, Anne.
Okay,
We'll move on to the Great Onslow storage scheme.
no, I don't think I've had an awful lot more to add than the last time I spoke to you. So where we're at the moment is, we don't have really much more information than we had last time. We received a 2 or 3 page, summary, which was basically what we're reviewing from the website. It wasn't a lot more information, and there was an approach to council, about notifying us of their intention to lodge with the Ministry for the Environment to get on the fast track list. Yeah, so that is about it. And then they have now, we found out
at the same time as everybody else through the newspaper, that they had actually lodged, so they haven't had any discussion with council at all. That said, there are some amendments that are out at the moment, well, they've had a 1 week turnaround, amendments to the Fast Track Act. Some of those amendments will reduce the amount of engagement with local authorities. And the first part of that is to get on the list, which means applying for the Ministry of Environment, and then you did the fast track process, a separate process, but to get on the list, you used to have to consult with council. One of the amendments is that you no longer have to consult with council, you just have to notify. And so there are a lot of changes. There's also some changes into the amount of input we may get. That piece of legislation came out, we had 1 week to respond to it. And we understand from an internal source that the enactment date is down for the 19th of December. So those changes are coming.
So the pre-lodgement
Yeah.
consultation becomes pre-lodgement notification, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
And then what's, if they get it?
Well, they actually framed it like that, so we're not sure.
So then,
Before the other stuff was released.
if they move to the pre-approved Schedule 2 list, I'd imagine?
No,
No.
they're a separate list.
Right,
The-
okay,
the
so
Schedule
what
2
changes in that stage of it,
Okay,
in
so
terms of
to
consultation?
get on the list, you have to apply to the Ministry
Yeah.
of the Environment.
Yeah.
With the ones that came through with the legislation are the scheduled use of
Yeah.
that, so that's 149 projects. The EPA have said at a webinar I was involved with a couple of weeks ago that by the end of this year, they would have approved 12 of 149. So that's going to be a challenge for them. But anyway, they've got 149 on that list. These are new projects that are to get on the list. So they go to the ministry and the ministry says yes or no, get on the list, and then we get into the EPA process.
Yeah, so at that stage, does anything regarding consultation
Yeah.
change? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's around how much input we will be allowed. Like currently, they have to consult with us prior to lodgement of their substantive application to the EPA. A lot of that stuff is getting watered down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and the amount of input we might have at the other end, our ability to appoint someone on the panel. And there's quite a lot of removing, I guess, the changes, they're intended to speed things up. Because they've realised that these processes take a really long time, but these are really, really complex projects. And so, yeah, that whole process of is intended to speed it up, but the speeding up has come through removing participation in the process, not just for council, but also for others at various stages, watering down what we had before. Yeah. Whereas, yeah, we've had, for example, consultation with the Santana for some months. It's been going on for some months. That may shift with these new changes, the amount of input we get and the opportunity we have to comment.
So just going back to the 140, you said there's 149 on the list.
There's a Schedule 2 list.
To be considered for fast track.
No, they've already been.
Already on the list, pre-approved through the legislature. Yeah,
And so they.
approved by the ministers.
So the Onslow is now applying to get on that schedule.
No, it's a different schedule. So Schedule 2's kind of closed.
Yes.
That's what came through the legislation. They're specifically named in the legislation, so they're specifically in the schedule. This is to get into the fast track. It's a separate list. Yeah. So there's another project in Cromwell that's applying at the moment as well. It does take some months. Fulton Hogan applied maybe 6 weeks ago for the parking site to get on with the ministry, and they're not anticipating getting into the new year, whether or not they've got on this, so it is several months in the time.
To get on the list.
To get on the list.
And then what's the delay at the moment to actually get heard? But of the 100 of the Schedule 2s, how long is it taking for them to actually get heard?
It's prepared, well, there'll be a combination of things. Some of that,
Okay, there's a whole lot of things that will slow things down, lack of information. And I think there was probably maybe an early misconception that it was a bit of a rubber stamp, but it's actually not. There's a statutory process that has to go through. So information requirements, putting panels together. So you've got 149 fast track consents, 149 expert panels that have to be put together to hear them. There's a limit to certain experts in New Zealand and things like economists. If you're dealing with the whole point of this fast track thing is that there has to be an economic benefit. So there's that like that regional national thing that generally hinges on that economic stuff. So the webinar that we went to with the conveners a couple of weeks ago indicated that the getting that kind of skill level on the panel was a bit challenging. So there's a whole load of things that go into the process. It is the original iteration was that minister would make the decision, but even then, the capacity of ministers and ministerial staff to deal with. We're a small country and lots of more projects, and there's more coming on the other list. So,
How many of these projects do you think will not proceed with fast track once the RMA changes it? Will that, do you envisage it, like, I'm talking like a subdivision. What's it doing in a fast track that once the RMA changes are streamlined and through?
we haven't seen what their draft anything looks
Right,
like yet.
okay.
We haven't seen a draft legislation at all.
Right.
There hasn't been any consultation on that at all. It's due out start of December. We'll have a bit of a clearer picture, but I don't think that's necessarily going to change or push through this type of project any faster.
How do they determine the order in which they're going to get heard, apart from the ability to create a panel? But is it like first come, first served, sort of?
It's when they lodge their substantive
based on that.
application. There's a whole list of timeframes.
Yeah.
So they have 2 years to lodge their substantive application.
Okay.
The Schedule 2 ones do. They have 2 years to lodge, so they have to get it on the box. But the pointy end will be probably next year when you might have another 100 queuing up to get heard. And then there's a process you go through. We've just been through a completeness process. So is it complete? That's not a merit thing. That's not about quality. Is it complete? So we've been through that. It's indicated that we, from our perspective, it is complete. There are some things we would like to address better, but it is complete. So the next part of it will be they will make a decision about completeness after feedback from us and regional council and staff, I guess. And then the next part will be a conveners meeting. So whoever's appointed to the panel they'll convene a meeting to have a discussion about the next stages. But when we get through the process, it'll be like you have X number of days, 20 days at the moment, 20 days to comment on the proposal, and then 10 days to discussion. No. And look, some of the kind of average is in the 60 days sort of processing time. So, but some of them are more than that, some of them are less, and there has been some decline.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit, at the moment, we're kind of we will know on the 19th of December, because the submission period is like 5 days, but we'll know at the 19th of December what, if any, changes they made, and we'll have a clearer picture of what's.
it's not exact science.
And you're working with moving goalpost solutions. You're working with moving goalpost solutions.
Yeah, well, it is a bit like in that whole planning area is quite a holding pattern at the moment, because until the new legislation comes in, we're not allowed to do any policy work. So until that comes in, we can't produce our rural, for example, or do any of that stuff, because we actually don't know what that looks like. And hopefully they'll create a pathway that will enable us to do it. And all we really need is to know what the parameters are for that piece of work. And hopefully that will come through with the December work. If not, in the new year, there'll be a national direction coming out as well. So, yeah, sorry, it's not that clear. Yeah. But there is the website, and
MB have still got the website out. There's a lot of information on it, so.
Okay. Becky, have you got any other questions? Any other community members? Yes, sir, did you have one last question?
Regarding the also scheme.
Yes,
Question.
yes, we'll see what it is, but yes,
Yeah.
see if we can answer it, yeah.
Do we know where it's going to go?
The physical location.
Yes. Still on.
On the MB website,
Yeah.
they had 3 locations and the Craig Flat one was the preferred one.
Very nice.
On the MB
Yeah,
investigation, I believe they're just copying the homework.
that's the extent of the information we've got is what's on the MB website. With council, even back then, 2 years ago, was involved, but very little.
Okay, thank you for that report, Anne.
That's okay.
And no doubt we'll ask you to report again on it in a few
Oh,
months. It's going to be probably the hottest topic that we have around this board. Till it's, well, for a long time to come. I won't say till it's approved or
Yeah.
not approved. But, you know, it will be the hottest topic in the community, hotter than the swimming pool or the entertainment centre, I suggest.
As a smaller district too, we've got 2 of the biggest projects on the list in averaging.
Thank you, Anne.
Okay.
Thanks, Anne.
Right, okay, so the next item on the list is an update on the.
See you later very much.
See you, Richard.
See you, Richard.
The next update is an update on Teviot Valley Community Plan from Rebecca. Right, or do you want to do Carly first, or?
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna have an update on the, we're gonna have an update on the, Roxburgh Pool, from Kylie Lipinski.
Hello.
Thank you, Carly. And what's your position at the council, Carly?
Aquatics manager.
Products manager,
Yeah.
look at that. Oh, you've got the right person.
Yeah, I oversee all 7 SE pools. Alex, from Roxburgh, Franklin. Yeah, been here for 5 years now. Awesome, so.
Just getting started.
Just getting started. So it's been an awesome start to the season already. We opened on Saturday, the 15th, and it's probably 2 weeks earlier than what we were kind of aiming for at the start when we officially took over management. So that's really exciting. We started hiring back in September. So David and I went to the school and we did an awesome presentation and we ended up hiring 10 staff for the pool, which is amazing, including 1 supervisor. 7 are local. 1 lives out in Lawrence and the other 2 are from Gore, but they've had a childhood holiday house here for years. So they've been coming to here for every holiday.
What was your secret to your advertising? Why did your advertising succeed?
We hit as many places as we could. We actually went to the school and did a presentation and spoke about the role. I think we were just trying to get our fingers in as many pies as we could to get the word out there.
Plenty of time on the road, and Carly's jokes are much better than mine. I didn't go very well at the school, so yeah, you can have the credits on that.
We had a lot of interest from the school, and I'm telling these kids, students have just been amazing from the start. We did training in October, they all flew through it. We have a swim teacher as well, so we've got swimming lessons coming up. December, and we've got another block in January, so that's all kind of started. Enrollments are open today and comms will go out about that too. So really it's been a pretty good lead up to the season.
Okay, well done.
There was just one, I wouldn't call it a glitch, but we had one of the solar panels damaged. So it was like they were walking past the track and someone was throwing a rock on the solar panel. So we had to replace that before we even opened. So that was a little bit disappointing. Can that be netted in any way to stop that from happening again?
We are looking at things on how we can reduce that, but I think the important thing for the community that is watching now, this adds cost to our operation, you know, and it's a brand new facility with brand new solar panels. And I guess the team were gutted when they rocked up to work that day and saw that what had been thrown onto the panel. So I guess the first step is to replace the panel, because a big part of the operation of this pool is the offset that those solar panels provide. It's a powerful system. And I know the team are looking at, how we could put a screen up, but you know, obviously that kind of stuff has costs. So in the first instance, we'd ask that, you know, we could that kind of stuff and let us know, but
And
yeah.
then before we were staffed every day, so we've got staff there every day now, so that would definitely deter. And I don't know if it's kids, but there was quite a lot of rocks, one big one, but just, quite a lot of rocks, which is just disappointing.
Is that type of thing insurable? Like,
Well, I guess for our excess and, you know, the
Yeah.
cost to replace that kind of stuff, it's usually not viable to claim insurance on it. It would become an OPEX cost. So, yeah, which was, you know, yeah.
But I thought I'll let you guys know the operating hours and the plan for the rest of the season as well. So until December 1st, we're open 9 to 5. And then from December 1st, we'll operate with full hours, which is 6:30 in the morning for those early lap swimmers till 7 p.m. at night. Of course, we'll just keep touching base and seeing how many people we're getting through the doors. And this is just our first season, so we're just going in with our hearts and eyes open, and then we'll adjust things as the season goes on. And then the fees and charges, all exactly the same as last year. This will probably be changed and looked at for next season, but we'll just keep you guys on the update on that.
How does the fees and charges compare with the other pools?
Not too far off it, just different options. So we have a 10 visit pass at the other pools, and we have different kind of memberships. So I just really want to align it up. So all the pools
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, so that's more what the fees and charges will be looking at, is making sure that all COD facilities are offering the same, different prices, but the same things, same passes and memberships. The school swimming program also booked that in for, February, so we're working really close with Roxburgh School. So they've booked out already, and we've already getting inquiries for birthday party bookings and inquiries and things like that. So it's all going, quite exciting, and it's good. You guys are down there.
You still run the store there, like the food and drink or the old pool?
We've got ice creams and we've got drinks, and I think we're gonna get some snacks in there. This year we've got goggles and caps, and we've kind of put everything into it, so we don't have togs. So bring your own togs, but if you forgot your goggles and things like that, that's all in there. Our supervision policy, all of that is all been signed and up and good to go. We're just nailing out our NOPs and our EAPs, which are operating procedures, because of course we've got the basics, but we need to operate for a while to make sure that we're doing what we're saying in our procedures. But other than that, it's been really good. Yeah, 38 memberships so far and 125 visits since Saturday.
Good. I don't need to think it's not on beige.
How would you characterise the, operating environment compared with your other pools? Is it comparable?
Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, sand filters, which we have in Cromwell.
Sand.
Sand filters, so that's a filtration system.
Yeah.
So we already operate that, and the Cromwell filters went in last year. We've been operating sand for 40 years in Cromwell, so it's really good because it's like for like. And the new thing for us will be the solar panels, and we just almost got the TV up and running so we can see, and people walk in and you can see how much we're generating and stuff. So we're just tweaking a little bit of that. But that will be my biggest learning curve will be the solar panels, and even looking at that for our other facilities as well for the future.
Right. And you set a budget for the pool for terms of revenue and expense?
Yes, yeah. So see all that we've done it for this year, and then it will take us a couple of years
I guess.
to really work. It was, but I modelled it on the last couple of years of the Rockford Pool being opening and our Ranfurly Pool as well. So I kind of combined the two to put the budgeting in the right place. But we'll know at the end of this season, another season, 2 seasons under our belt, we'll have a really good budget and knowing what we're going to expect.
And so operationally, do you think it'll be a similar or lesser cost to the other pools, given that the smaller pools are similar size?
Yeah, at the moment, Ranfurly and Roxburgh are like for like since we've been open on Saturday. I don't know the answer to that yet. I think it'll be very similar to Ranfurly. Yeah, but yeah, I can't believe how similar it is. I think Ranfurly have 37 memberships and have 120 visits since Sunday.
Wow.
And so they're like, oh, goodness,
And running costs, do you think they'll be similar?
I think they'll be similar, yes. Staffing is our biggest will be able to use in electricity and things like that. I think it'll be very similar.
Did you have any staff travelling from out of the district?
Just one from Lawrence.
Right, I see, there's no like back and forth from Alex.
Not at the moment. That might happen a bit later on the season when we lose our kids to university and going back to school. So we will be bringing other staff from other pools so we can stay open in February. That will probably be our biggest pinch point for staffing.
I think that's a really cool thing is, I guess the money rated in this community is majority of it staying from salary and wages point of view. So it's kind of a cool thing.
And it all wrapped up with the fruit pickers do use the pool as well, so you get that and they like the hot showers too.
Yeah, we
Especially if they're landing.
yeah, and we've got a charge for showers as well. So yeah.
So if you got a gate, like you can't get under without a key, Tony.
So at the doors, the staff will be at reception at all times. So you'll go in, you see a staff member, you'll have a membership card that the staff member will tag you in, or you pay casually. So the doors just open and close when you come in, staff member on reception and on pool side at all times.
Right. Fantastic.
Good work.
Yeah.
And just, well done, absolutely fantastic.
And the community here too, it's been amazing already. And if you haven't been down, it's nice to stay down here. It's beautiful. Thanks, guys. Good house.
So,
Are you shifting to the valley too, Rebecca?
I'm spending a lot of time here.
It's a beautiful place. Thanks.
okay, so we've got Teviot Valley. Rebecca.
Hello. So, I'm Rebecca. Nice to meet you, Hayden and Becky. I think we've got Becky's or Rebecca's on 3 of the 4 boards, so Rebecca's starting to take over as well. So thank you for the opportunity to give an update on the Teviot Valley Community Plan. As soon as I say a date in the community plan process, it's wrong. So I had hope, and I still got a little bit of hope, that we're getting this to you very soon. Now, the board, community plans are community-led documents that pull together the desires of the community about what they want to see in the place that they live. And we facilitate that process, but we're very conscious that we can't own council. And so it's not a council document per se, it's us pulling together the community's thoughts. This time round, we've involved the community board because of your connections with the community, but not at that approved, this is what we're going to do level, but to facilitate our conversation with the community. We've also been working with Teviot Prospects, and they've been a great help with where we go, when we go do, those sorts of things. So we got, it's very nearly, the draft plan very nearly ready. I've just got final comments from Paula overnight, and I've just agreed or disagreed while I've sat through this meeting. So I'll go back to Paula and have a comment. There's only a couple of points that me and Paula need to talk through. We'll go back to Rebecca, who's done the drafting, another Rebecca, and I think that's at the stage that we would like to send it to the board and to Teviot Prospects, really to sense check it. It's just to make sure we haven't got anything wrong. For instance, we've got in here, Rebecca's used the term Miller's Flat rugby sevens. Now I want to change that to 7-a-side. So it's those sorts of things that you think, oh no, they haven't quite got that nuance right. And you guys know far more than we do as people of the valley. So the process from there is, once we're all okay that it's not wrong, is to give it out to the community and say, this is what we've heard, have we got it right? Very similar to what Nick's doing with his economic development strategy, but in this instance, this is the community's, this is their plan. So hopefully they see there's been 95 people responded to the survey. We had workshops in Ettrick, Miller's Flat, at Roxburgh. We had another workshop with the kids at the school, which was fantastic. So hopefully they'll see each other, eat themselves in this and see how we've articulated those actions. Now, there's mention in here of a freeze drive.
stuff. There's mention in here about a endowment foundation. And so all those things that we've talked about today.
Bridget Miller's flat.
I think
That was moved
there's
quite often.
discussion about rowing and I don't know if the bridge specific, I can't remember, but there's certainly rowing is in here.
The Miller's flat. one.
Work together with the community to highlight local road culvert and drainage issues and continue to raise these with the community board and the community. So that's an example of an action that comes through
That's cute.
the community plan. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're very close to sending this to you guys. Now, I'm keen on a couple of things. So I'll send it out to fact check it. And then we'll release it publicly. And now we can either wait, do it before Christmas or after Christmas. But I'm thinking the 11th of December is a great opportunity to say, oh, and here's the community plan.
To combine it with the.
Do it at the end. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody.
It depends on how much time, it depends on whatever else is on. I mean, the planning, our planning has got to be the primary thing that we want to do.
I mean, yeah, public meeting with,
Yeah.
the public meeting about the environment, the entertainment centre, I could say at the end of it.
Yeah.
Because I expect you're going to approach.
Have really good.
So, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
you mean for the public release is what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay, well, if we can distribute it before then, we can
Well,
determine.
if Rebecca brings,
Brings it. I'd bring
Brings
coffees
it.
to the meeting on the 11th and say, have 5 minutes at the end, say, hey, we've got a draft community plan. This is just an opportunity to let you know about that. Here it is, read it over Christmas.
I think it's a great way to socialise it.
Yeah.
It'll be great early.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
you've got a copy of
What do you
it.
think, Curtis?
Yeah.
How many pages?
It's, I've got a silly version, so I can't do that. My version's only little, so it's.
So your plan is to send that out over the next few days?
Yeah,
So all-
so the plan, I'll go and, I've got a couple of questions I want to ask Paula, then it'll go back to Rebecca. Now Rebecca's busy, as you've heard.
Yeah.
Doing all sorts of consultation around, so hopefully she can turn that around quickly. But if not this week, then next. To you guys and Teviot possibly.
Okay, right, okay, and we can confidentially have a browse through and sense check it, as you say,
And then we'll release it.
is it chocolate fresh for any spelling mistakes?
Yeah, cool. That might be one of those big fat ones.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Okay, there's only one more item on the agenda, which is the date of the next meeting. Right,
Do we just need to check?
is the,
Status updates?
eh?
After the governance report, we have status updates for it.
Right, there's only one item on that is closed and the other one is to do with, yeah, okay, right, everybody read those? There was a road stopping application that's being processed and there's the chairman's.
Did that road stop and go ahead at on the side of Teviot Road?
The road stopping on Teviot Road.
A couple of months ago in the code, there was 2 road stoppings. Those on
That
one.
one was,
I think, yeah, it came here. I think you guys wanted the approval for us to start our process. I don't
Approval's
think.
Roxbury.
I know, I
Yeah.
thought there was one over on the other side of the river here.
Could be only governance report here somewhere.
There's only one.
Okay.
Because we discussed it, we discussed
well, I think
it.
that was closed. Like one that,
They were asking for a road stop and it was somewhere over on the other side of the river.
Yeah, this one here, Fruitlands, Roxburgh, were reviewed, but the applications were being
Teviot
processed.
Road.
It's still being processed,
Oh, okay.
the Roxbury Road.
that's for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the only one, the indoor, I can see.
so based on phase report today for the, yeah, so.
We've got incorporated, society status and new sign these, so they were the 2 conditions we've imposed.
So that one's full, big
I
five.
haven't checked the thing, I don't have that invoice that we've done that yet.
we might have simply updated this thing. Forward one. Not very. Maybe.
No.
Unless you can find it in some old minutes, Joe. Okay.
Yeah, no, I probably can't
Did you think?
right now.
No one's raised it, but you just. All right, okay, so that brings us to the next meeting. And that's, we've got,
you have to approve it.
what have we got to approve?
Just approve the governance report, that's what, back in the updates and
Yeah, okay, I propose that those, governance report and those other updates be, accepted, is it? We're not approving anything.
just received.
Received, you received? Could I have a seconder for that?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you, yes. Right, and so the last thing is the next meeting, Thursday the fifth. When is New Zealand Day?
Six, no, it was six last year. I remember it.
Something's happened.
It's always such, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
So that's the day before. Everybody happy with that? That's coming, put on fine, isn't it? No, sir.
I wish.
I won't be here. I'm getting on the plane to White Island.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
But I can do remote.
okay, all right, thank you. All right, well, we'll continue with that proposed. We have, I think we've already approved the dates anyway, in
Last
bulk.
meeting.
So, I mean, it's just a check. Five of us were going to say, well, we're actually going to be involved for that day, and we couldn't get to one. All right, great, thank you. So if we confirm that the next meeting date is Thursday, 5th of February. And does anybody have any final closing remarks or anything else that's not on the agenda? No? Thank you very much. I hereby close the meeting, 4:12, which will be the first time it's ever been.
No, it's not.
Well, the last meeting.
No, it was the first time you ever chaired a meeting. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you much, everybody.
To believe how fast when we chaired, when market to run. 2 years ago.
We're off.